Okay, we're going to work through this whole questions 3, 4, and 5 again. So we're on the paper, it's May, June of 2024, paper 21. It's the summer one there. And we're going to work through what you do with this setup. So first things first, you need to do question 5 before you do anything else, okay? You're going to take a quick look at this, and you're going to see it's about doctors, recommendations, following them, patients, okay. All about doctors, doctors. I'm just looking at every paragraph. Okay, so if you can manage to not talk about doctors, but still answer the question whether you are for or against maintaining your own health, then you're good to go. Making it the highest priority. You can read this and work through that. But once you've done that, now we've got to deal with this, and this passage is daunting when you just look at it because you have to answer all these questions about it. So, the first place you're going to go is question B. And you're going to see that it says paragraphs 3 to 4 to intermediate conclusions. That's a 4-point question. You don't skip this one. Okay? So you're going to look here for 2 intermediate conclusions. And then we're going to use the rest of this to frame what we're going to do. The first question is very important, but it won't help you, 3A. So now we're looking at 3C. The following words from paragraph 5. It's an argument element, and you're going to explain its function, which usually means to support a conclusion. So I'm going to bracket this, and I'm going to write argument element, identify and explain function. And I'm recommending when you take the test today, tomorrow, whatever day it is, that you actually do this. You actually write this on your paper. Identify one unstated assumption required, rather not. You can do that one, but that one takes a while, and I hate them. So that's one I skip personally and come back to at the very end. Evaluate, identify and evaluate an appeal in paragraph 1. So in paragraph 1, you're looking for an appeal. Okay, identify it, say what it is, and evaluate it. Then we're looking at evaluate the analogy in paragraph 2. So I'm going to go to paragraph 2, and I'm going to write analogy. This is going to help me frame my reading of this and know what to do. Identify and explain the flaw of conflation in paragraph 3. Just a quick little reminder, equivocation is using a word to mean something else. It's a flaw of using a word the wrong way. If you're talking about a drinking well, but we're talking about whether somebody is feeling well, we're talking about 2 different things, equivocating them. Conflation is about ideas being mixed up. Okay? But it's not about the word, it's about the whole idea. I'm going to tell you this one can be kind of hard. So, a flaw of conflation in paragraph 3, you're going to look for that. So, anyway, that's not a perfect way to write that. Okay, and then 4D, one flaw or weakness in reasoning in paragraph 6. Okay, flaw or weakness in reasoning. Okay, so we've drawn an outline here. Now, The next part of this, and this is really important, you need to find your conclusions. Don't know why I keep activating Siri. Okay. Now, there are some words that are going to help you. Miss Borcherding has taught you these. Therefore, because, but, let's see. You know, things like in conclusion or to sum up or all of that help too. But therefore, because, but, these are words that are going to help you find your conclusions. So we're going to give them a look as we go through this and see what we can find. All right. Now, what we know is we have to find all the conclusions here. So we're going to start with 3, 4, and 5, 3 and 4. Like members of other professions, doctors are now constantly assessed by statistical analyses of their work. They are expected to improve their success rates each year, but performing treatments only on people who will benefit from them will not help them to do so. They may therefore be tempted to extend treatment to those who are not ill at present, but are judged to be at risk of developing an illness in the future. All right, so when you see the therefore, and I hate how badly I circled that, so I'm going to do a better job of that. We're going to underline this and identify it as a likely conclusion. Now, you might want to test it, or you might just want to put a C on it, but whenever it has the word therefore in it, you ask, okay, so they say they're expected to improve success rates each year, but performing treatments only on people who will benefit doesn't help them. Therefore, they may be tempted to extend treatment. This is definitely a conclusion of some sort. Whether it is an intermediate conclusion or a main conclusion, we'll find out later. More of those people may meet the target of surviving for a certain number of years, but, there's that word, some would have survived even without the treatment because they would not have developed the illness. So we got a but and a because here. That means look around for a conclusion. More will meet the target. Some would not. Some would do so without the treatment. Why? They wouldn't have developed, because they wouldn't have developed the illness. They wouldn't have developed the illness. They may meet the target of surviving a certain number of years. Therefore, some would have done so without the treatment. Okay? Why would they have done that? Because they would not have developed the illness. So that's another likely IC there. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that is definitely a conclusion of some sort. Then paragraph 4. Many people think that if they fall ill, it must be someone's fault, and they want compensation from the guilty person. Although doctors, now this right here, this is a counter word. And that's another place. Look after your counters. Sorry, I promised not to do cursive, and there I am doing it. Okay. Look after your counters. That's a good place to find conclusions. Although doctors should be guided solely by what they believe to be best for their patients, they may instead be motivated by fear of legal action. Let's take a look at this. People, if they fall ill, think it's someone's fault and want compensation. Doctors should be guided by what they believe to be best for their patients, but they may instead be motivated by fear of legal action. Why? Because people think this. So this counter's response is another conclusion. So now we've done paragraphs 3 and 4, and I realize this takes a while, but I want to remind you that we are talking about 6 points. Okay? These are 6 points you can definitely get if you'll be patient. This is worth the 10 minutes it will take you on the test. It really is. Because these are points you can get, and you're going to spend 20 or 25 minutes writing an 8-point essay. These 6 points are worth it. Let's go to paragraph 1. Most people trust their medical doctors and accept their recommendations without questioning, but everyone should be cautious about accepting the advice of their doctor. This is important because making poor decisions about medical treatments can lead to pain, disability, and even premature death. So when we talk about an appeal, that makes me think of that. We've got a button, a because. So when you look at this, everyone should be cautious about accepting the advice of their doctor. Why? Making poor decisions leads to pain, death, and premature death. Most people accept doctors' recommendations without questioning them, but making poor decisions in medical treatments leads to pain, disability, and even death. Therefore, everyone should be cautious about accepting the advice of their doctor. Interesting conclusion, but it's a conclusion for sure. Okay, so that is a conclusion. Many doctors are paid by patients for the medicines they provide or the procedures they perform, while others are employed by companies which rely solely on payments of their income. So these are just reasons and examples, and they're reasons for something. Inevitably, these doctors are tempted to provide treatments that are profitable even if they are not clinically necessary. They're paid by patients for medicines they provide and procedures they perform, and others by companies that rely on these payments. Therefore, they are tempted to provide treatments which are profitable even if they are not clinically necessary. Undergoing a medical procedure because a doctor has recommended it is as unwise as buying an expensive upgrade for your computer because the engineer who installs the upgrade has told you it is needed. That's your analogy. Okay, so we've got our analogy here. Okay? Now, we've done 3 and 4. Let's go to 5. Many doctors who recommend investigations, that's British for looking into a health problem, or treatments have not experienced them personally. They will therefore, that's your dead giveaway, underestimate the unpleasantness and inconvenience that those procedures will cause to the patients. Finally, we ourselves are the greatest experts on what is happening in our own bodies. We can try to describe our sensations to someone else, but only we know precisely what they feel like. So there's 3 clauses here. We are the greatest experts. We can try to describe sensations, but only we know what they feel like. It's a chain of reasoning. It's a counter and response. But the ultimate conclusion in this is we ourselves are the greatest experts on what is happening in our bodies. Reasons? We can try to describe it, but only we know what it feels like. Therefore, we ourselves. Okay? So we found all of that. You can hear my son yelling at the dog. Working from home is fun. So now we have all these conclusions, and we need to identify which one is the main conclusion, which one serves the other. This would be a good place to pause and ask that. But if you can find the conclusions, or even most of them, then you should be able to find the main conclusion by saying which one sums it all up. Everyone should be cautious about accepting advice of their doctor. Doctors are tempted to provide treatments that aren't necessary. They extend treatment to those who are not ill. They are motivated by fear of legal action. They will underestimate unpleasantness. We are the greatest experts on what is happening in our bodies. Okay, well, these are all about specifics. They kind of dial in and drill down on things. Okay? So, therefore, everyone should be cautious about accepting the advice of their doctor. These doctors are tempted to provide treatments which are profitable, even if they are not clinically necessary. Therefore, everyone should be cautious about accepting the advice of their doctor. They may therefore be tempted to extend treatment to those who are not ill but judged to be at risk of developing illness in the future. Therefore, everyone should be cautious about accepting the advice of their doctor. They may instead be motivated by legal action. Therefore, everyone should be cautious. They will underestimate unpleasantness and da-da-da. Therefore, everyone should be cautious. We are the greatest expert on what is happening in our bodies. Therefore, everyone should be cautious. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. This is our main conclusion. Okay? That's our main conclusion. That makes it look like it's the line above it. Okay? This is our main conclusion. Okay? That means we can answer question 1 with confidence. And then for question 2, these are all intermediate conclusions. The truth is, across the whole thing, the rest of these are intermediate conclusions. But most especially, these 3 and 4. So you go to question 1, using the exact words as far as possible, identify the main conclusion. So I'm going to clear this page up now so we can give it some quick answers. We have evaluated this paragraph now. Okay. The first sentence is, everyone should be cautious about accepting the advice of their doctor. You need to say, the main conclusion is everyone should be cautious. You are not going to do this here about taking the advice of their doctor. You're going to provide the exact words because you have an answer booklet. But that's the answer. Okay? And then for the next question, we have they may therefore be da-da-da-da-da future. Okay? That doesn't make any sense by itself, but it's the first one we have here. Some would have done so even without the treatment. So you have some would have done so ... even without the treatment. Okay, and then you also have this one in paragraph 4. They may instead be motivated by fear of legal action. Okay, and then you also have the one that is about legal action in paragraph number 4 is also an IC. Okay, now again, you will write these clearly, but we've identified the answers, folks. That's 6 points. Okay, you should be able to get an easy 8 points here. I want to remind you at this point that 15 out of 50 is passing at E level. You have nearly achieved that just with this amount of work and a 10-sentence essay here. Okay? Let's keep going. Skip the ones that are difficult to you from this point on, but look at them and give them a try. Identify argument element and explain the function. Okay, so I'm going to pause this video or stop this video and pick it back up with the next part of this.